Hey guys, this is Nick, and today I'm going to talk about future prospects you should be looking forward to for the Chicago Blackhawks. But first, this is a Blackhawk jersey. Since I'm going to be talking about prospects, I think I should wear something different. Give me a minute. Now that's better. Rockford Ice Hogs. For prospects, why not use our farm team? The first prospect I'm going to talk about is Delia, who I believe will be our third string goalie in the upcoming season, and the future number two goalie to Corey Crawford, and the season after that, after Cam Ward's contract's up, and our future starting goalie. Delia did play a game in Chicago, and it kind of got overshadowed last year due to the fact what happened to him in the game and who came in and became a legend. Scott Foster went into net after Delia got injured in his NHL debut. But in Rockford, he played 28 games, had a goals against of a 2.72, had his record of a 17-7-2 good record, and a save percentage of .900. But in the playoffs, he heated up. He played 10 games, had a goals against of a 2.34, a lot better, a record of 7-3, which is good, and a save percentage of 9.24. If you notice, that went up. It's a better save percentage. He had his numbers show that he can be a good goalie in the NHL. But I won't expect him to be in net in Chicago this upcoming season. But he could be if Crawford's still hurt, and he'll be the backup to Cam Ward. The next prospect, Sikura. His positions, he could play either sides on the wing and in center. Sikura, he played 35 games with his college last year in Northeastern University. He had 22 goals, 32 assists, and 54 points. Good numbers. He was over a point per game in college. In Chicago, he played 5 games and had 3 assists. Good numbers for a young player. So I could expect to see him make the Blackhawks next year, but honestly, I think he gets a stint in Rockford for a little bit to get more adjusted to a professional hockey rules, because he was in college for 4 seasons and made the NHL for only 5 games. But I think you'll be seeing Sikura make his return to the Blackhawks in the middle of the season. Next prospect to look forward for, Victor Ejdsell, who came to Chicago by trade for Ryan Hartman, and we'll most likely be seeing him in Chicago opening night. Ejdsell, he didn't play much of a regular season in Rockford. He only had 5 games. Then he got called up to Chicago, played 6 games in Chicago, but in both teams in regular season play, in Rockford he had 1 assist, and in Chicago he had 1 assist. But in the playoffs, I'm sorry I don't have his stats from the playoffs because I couldn't find them anywhere, which is a shame. He lit the lamp up like it was nothing for him. And he was a key player in Rockford's run to the Western Conference Final, where they ended up losing to the Texas Stars. Damn Stars. But we'll be probably most likely seeing Ejdsell making opening night roster in Chicago. I hope so, but who knows? We could still be going after a few players this off season. I still think Ejdsell makes the roster next year. Okay, the next prospect on here, I have to do this for sure, on purpose, because I kind of like what I'm going to do with him, and like what I'm going to do when I talk about who's up next. Jokiharju, defenseman. It played in Portland. If you see, that's a close to a Blackhawk logo, but that's Portland's. That's the Hawks logo. The kid knows how the Blackhawk uniform looks, and when he was drafted, he was happy. When he was drafted in 2017 by the Blackhawks at the draft in Chicago, he got drafted by his hometown team now. Not his actual hometown, since he's not from the States, he's from Finland. He still got drafted by the team that he would be playing for in his own stadium. Jokiharju played in Portland for 2 seasons. In 2017-2018, he had 63 games, my bad. 12 goals, 59 assists, and 71 points. Jokiharju is a defenseman putting up 71 points in the WHL, I should mention, where there's a bunch of youth. He's still young. But I think Jokiharju will be a number 2 defenseman, become a number 2 defenseman in Chicago, and would be part of the making process of this rebuild the Chicago Blackhawks are in. Jokiharju will be wearing the number 28 in Chicago. He already got his jersey number. And be ready to look for Jokiharju on ice on opening night, alongside with his, I believe he'll be on the same D pairing with Duncan Keith, a legend. So a legend with a young guy, that's pretty good. So get ready to see Jokiharju play next year. Next prospect, Adam Boqvist. Adam Boqvist is only 17 and got drafted in the 2018 draft in Dallas this season. Boqvist, being only 17, he has time to grow. He's a defenseman, so defensemen need to grow into becoming a good prospect. He is already a good prospect, being drafted number 8, and probably one of the deepest drafts in a while, especially for defensemen. That's good. There's been talk that Boqvist could be the next Erik Karlsson or OEL. 2 solid defensemen in the NHL. One who has 2 Norris trophies, which is Karlsson, and one that gets underrated a lot, which is OEL. They're both great defensemen, but I don't believe Boqvist makes the roster until 2019-2020 because he just signed a 1-year deal with the London Knights in the Ontario Hockey League, where Patrick Kane played his in his junior team from and that was the team that he got drafted by when he was drafted number 1 overall to the Chicago Blackhawks. Boqvist is going to be our number 1 prospect for the next few years, depending on what happens next season. If we suck to the point that we won the draft lottery, we'll be most likely getting Hughes. But Boqvist is going to be a solid defenseman in Chicago when he makes his debut in the upcoming, I will say, 2019-2020 season, because I know for sure he won't be making 2018-19 season. He even could miss the 2019-2020 season and come in 2020-2021, because he's still a defenseman and he's still young. He's going to need time to grow and develop into a star defenseman, which he's going to be in Chicago. Since I mentioned all those prospects I believe will be coming in the future to build the future and become future star players of Chicago, I would like to hear who you believe could be top prospects in Chicago. I mentioned a few that I know for sure are going to be top prospects and a few that aren't on the top 10 prospect lists, which Delia was one of them, even though he had a solid season in Rockford. But I would like to hear down in the comments below who you believe are the top prospects in Chicago. And if you have any more questions, just feel free to ask down there. Make sure to like and subscribe. This is Nick, and let's go Hawks.